Welcome back to another video, and today we'll be discussing the newest makeup announcements and releases. Welcome back, and it's time for another makeup news video. So in these videos I go through the newest makeup announcements and releases that have been made during the last few weeks. It's usually because I do this every other week. And as always, you will be seeing the image of the product that I'm discussing over in this side, and then I will be listing the accounts in the description box. I would normally recommend that if you're on Instagram, then go and follow these accounts. But I think this week we have a couple of concealer releases, which is a bit strange because I did think we might be over, because usually in the beginning of the year brands do release quite a lot of base products, but we're now on March, so it's a bit still surprising that there are still like a couple of new, and actually one of the concealers is actually something that I'm seriously eyeing on. And aside from the concealer releases, there are some interesting things here and there, but I think this is going to be again one of those videos where there's not anything that I'm going over that I must get this product or thing. So I think my wallet is going to be pretty thankful about the products we're discussing today. But anyway, let's get to discussing the products. So first, something that's maybe not makeup announcements related, but if you live in Europe, particularly within European Union, Monolith Shop has announced their launch date. So Monolith Shop is a store, an online store that Europeans, we can get some of the popular overseas indie brands. So they focus on like US indie brands, but also they have some sea beauty brands, and also some because they do carry Glaminatrix, which is a Australian indie brand. So basically they make it easy for us to get some of the indie brands that would be very expensive for us to otherwise import here. But so the launch date is 16th of March, which was quite a bit later, because I think they initially said that the next launch would be in the sort of like end February, beginning of March, but the 16th, that's like already like halfway, and it's 10:30 CET, so check on your own time, your own time zone, what that will make. So it's depending where you live in Europe, it's somewhere around like the early morning, like late morning or afternoon time. So far the products that I have seen, because they have already listed quite a few of the products that are on their web that will be included in the launch, and I don't think there's going to be anything that I am eyeing, at least currently, because it's still a few weeks for the launch date, so it could be that there's some unannounced indie product that is going to launch, and maybe Monolith has already also gotten the stock of the product, so there is like still possibility that there might be something included in the launch. But so far it seems that this might be actually the launch that I'm gonna be skipping by. But as I said, go to their website and make your wish list if you see products that you're interested in, and be on the website on the 16th when the launch is gonna happen. So that was the maybe sort of public service announcement, and let's now get to the sort of makeup products that I wanted to discuss today. So first one. So this is actually a bit older one, and I actually have seen this already on our retailer. So MAC Cosmetics is coming out with a Strobe Collection, and this is going to be including some Strobe creams. And then I think the most exciting thing in this one is that MAC is going to be coming out with glowy blushes. I do have to give them credit. The first time especially, the Strobe cream is not something that I'm interested in. MAC has had this kind of strobe cream product on their line before. I think then they have now just redone the packaging and maybe come up with new shades. But the blushes that are in the dough food packaging, these kind of do look interesting, but I think because these are glowy blushes, this might be a skip for me. I think what I'm probably gonna do is that I'm gonna go to store, because MAC definitely has been those brands that it was sort of falling off already when I got into the makeup YouTube. But I do think lately MAC has been trying to do some launches that have kind of seemed a bit interesting. So what I think I might do is that I will take advantage of the fact that these are already available in stores in my country and check them out. But if you're interested in glowy blushes or these sort of strobing products that MAC has, these should already be quite widely available. Then first of the concealer releases. So apparently Estée Lauder is coming out with a double wear stay in place 24-hour concealer, and considering that the double wear foundation is what made Estée Lauder like quite a iconic, I think it was the like most talked about foundation in, for example, in the makeup YouTube at some point. This was like a very long time ago, but there was a point in makeup community when everyone was like wearing that double wear, and I do think the foundation is still like Estée Lauder's like bestseller. So it makes sense that they are coming out with a concealer. I'm just thinking that did it really take this long for them to come out with a concealer for this kind of line, because I think it's a pretty missed opportunity that if you have such a successful foundation, then why wouldn't you come out with a concealer? I'm just Estée Lauder's aesthetics and just how the brand market itself is not something that I'm particularly interested in. Their packaging and just the way that everything is set up, it just doesn't attract me considering all the other options that I have for makeup these days. But if you've been loving the double wear foundation, then the concealer could be something to look into. Then the concealer that I am curious about, one point could be that this is probably going to be half of the price compared to the Estée Lauder one. So L'Oreal is going to be coming out with Infallible Skin Ink. This is a 2-in-1. They're currently advertising this as a found sealer, so I assume because it's advertised as found sealer, so this is supposed to be you can use this also as a foundation and a concealer. Newsflash, you can use almost any kind of concealer as a foundation. There's been a few concealers that I've tried in my life that did not work out as a foundation, but most of them will work just fine also as a foundation. So what are they promising? So 48-hour long wear waterproof, height resistant. Guys, please don't wear your makeup for 48 hours. That's like 2 days. Please wash your face. It's gonna be awful if you wear makeup that long. But basically what this is saying, I think, is that this is meant to be long wearing, and I do think the Infallible line, they do have a foundation in that line too, so I think the Infallible line is one of those lines that they tend to advertise that the products are meant to be more long wearing. So I'm curious. This apparently has been, actually it doesn't say where this has been bought in, but I do think this is actually something that if and when this comes to Europe, because L'Oreal has a bit funny habit that they sometimes launch their products first in Europe and some things launch in States, and if they launch first in the US it can take some time for them to get here, but I'm interested, so maybe at some point I might review this on my channel once this becomes available in my country, but as I said, I'm most likely more keen to try this out than the Estée Lauder one, because L'Oreal is still much more affordable than Estée Lauder. Then something that I was first thinking that am I having a deja vu, but apparently there was a reason why I was having a deja vu. So Colourpop is redoing their 9 pans, and I do believe that they are doing these 9 pans because these used to be in a smaller pan size in cardboard packaging if you have bought them from their website, but first of all these have a bigger pan size and these have a see-through plastic packaging. And I do think this is why they are redoing the packaging, is that because for some reason in the US you don't do testers at drugstore, which I think it's a bit... In Europe we have testers in drugstores because our also return policies here are a bit stricter. You can't really return makeup, unlike in States that you can actually return makeup. But basically because you can't return makeup products here in store if you buy them, that's the reason why they also have to have testers, because you have to be able to see it before buying. But so I assume this is, so I heard that this is the reason why they're doing this, that they are releasing this, I believe, in Targets, at least where I do know that they have been having these like Target specific Colourpop lines previously, so these are being done for the Target customer so people can see how the palette looks like. But if you have bought any of these palettes in the cardboard packaging previously, these are just like redone palettes in a different packaging and in a bigger pan size. I do wonder though, is the product quality different, because I have seen some YouTubers saying that apparently there is a quality difference between the eyeshadow, that if you buy the it seems that the ones that are pressed in the smaller pans don't seem to be better quality, and some people have haven't been liking these eyeshadows in the bigger pans, saying that the pressing isn't as good, or it has made the shadows harder to use. So I'm curious, so someone, if you're buying these and these for some reason, even if you have the 9 pans, so you can comment down below that that if you have tried these, that is the quality actually different compared to the original 9 pans. So but just in case if you're wondering that is it some kind of deja vu or something, no, this is just Colourpop doing the same color stories in different kind of packaging again. I think this was the most of the interesting mascaras that I see, and this was actually momentarily available already on Boozy Shop, but I believe this sold out. So Maybelline is doing a Colossal Bubble Mascara, and I'm pretty excited about this one because the brush looks to be like one of those traditional, because a lot of brands lately for some reason plastic bristles in mascaras have been really popular, and that is actually not something that I prefer. I prefer the traditional fiber bristles. For me, those mascaras for some reason tend to work with my lashes a bit better. So I was eyeing this, and this kinda looks the brush looks kind of nice, and I do like, well, you should never trust mascara, like marketing images, but overall this mascara is just giving me the vibes that this actually might be a mascara that would work really well for me. I actually saw some of our stores already having a place for this mascara. There was like, you could see the image of the mascara and then the places the mascara is gonna go, but the mascara wasn't yet available. But I assume because the stands already have a place for this one, this should be launching also soon here in Europe. But yeah, I am actually pretty curious about this because, well, I have had a bit of hit and miss luck with Maybelline mascaras, but the previous Maybelline mascara, which was the one in the bright pink packaging, it was Fireworks or something was in the name of the mascara, but that was actually one of my favorite mascaras in the year when I tried it out. So I am hoping, because the last Maybelline mascara experience was such a positive one, that this could also be a good one, because at least based on the brush this looks to be quite promising. So then a brand that I don't talk a lot about, but if you are, because this is one of those clean beauty brands, which is not exactly something that I like brands when they do it in marketing. But anyway, Saie Beauty is coming out with powder blushes, so they are advertising these as SuperSuede talc-free powder blushes. Apparently these are meant to be long wear baked blushes. I do have to say that while I do think this looks to be, because it's a baked formula and also it looks to be like some of these shades have more of a satin-like formula, I actually do, I like always say that I'm not a fan of glowy or glittery blushes, but satin blushes I can kind of go with. So I do think the finish of this looks nice, but I do have to say that the colors aren't anything that I already don't like have in my collection. So I think that if you like this brand, then these blushes could be look like good way to fill in your fill in the sort of brand product collection that you have from this brand. But for me, I mean, these look alright, but also something else I'm gonna say that Saie Beauty, I think it's not it's not particularly cheap brand, and for some reason the packaging is a bit cheap considering that this isn't exactly the cheapest of the blushes you can get. Yeah, these are $28 US, so I think if a blush is closer to a sort of $30 US mark, then I do think that they maybe could have worked with the packaging a bit, because I do think the packaging of this is a bit dull, but it could still be that the formula is great. And I do have to say that, as I said, some of these look to be more like satin blushes, so actually the finish would probably be quite nice, but for me this is a need to skip. I have so much blush, and we're gonna be still talking about actual blushes blush that I am planning to actually get. So Suqqu has come out with Stellar Allure Pre-Summer Collection. This is a very beautiful. Suqqu does these promo images very well, but we have seen these colors from Suqqu quite many times, and I don't need any of these. I do have to say again that what always tempts me with Suqqu collection is the ombre blushes. They tend to do these very well, but I can safely say that these are very like typical like Suqqu colors that I think the brand has come out with before. The brand occasionally does collections where I go like that, wow, that's something very different, because Suqqu is one of those very like truly like luxury brands when you look at their price point. But we have a bit of like peach, and then we have a bit of like lilac purple zones here. But if you are a fan of Suqqu fan, then I believe this will be released in Europe in 20th of March, so at the end of this month you should be able to buy these if you are interested in them. Then to the category of products that I already bought. So Natasha Denona, this palette leaked, I think it was maybe few days after I have like posted my last makeup news video, and I was thinking like that, okay, because it was another leak, and I do know that Natasha Denona's team have been going out for the people who have been publishing these leaks. I was thinking that I'm not gonna be putting the leaked picture until we have the actual confirmation, and then I think it took like a bit over a week, and then they like announced this officially. So this is the Bloom eyeshadow palette, and yeah, so obviously, as I said, I already bought this. It's actually, the palette is, I can actually like show it because I like have it here. So this is the palette. I think there's already like quite a lot of material of this in YouTube, and this is how the color story is looking. So it is a very, I think this is like Sigma Coda Rosa 2.0 would be how I would describe this one. Some people were saying that we're getting another neutral palette, but I have to say, this isn't very neutral. I think if I'm looking at this, there's like maybe a couple of brown shades, but this is truly, I think, quite of a, I would even say it's a bit like a punchy, very peachy, orangey, rosy leaning palette. If you're looking for something neutral, Natasha Denona has like many other palettes that I would actually describe more as like neutral palettes. But if you've been like eyeing this is now available on Natasha Denona's own website. You can get this on her retailers, and so far I have only done one look with this one in as of when I'm filming this one. However, I'm not wearing the palette currently. I'm actually wearing the Blend Bunny plastic palette, which is the second palette that's on my rotation right now. But if you've been like eyeing this or looking this is already like available in most places. And I have to say, like, my initial impression based on the first look that I created is so far I've been pretty like happy with it, but we shall have to see. I do think that this might be one of those palettes that you aren't gonna get a super lot of variety because it is very heavy peachy leaning, but at least the first look that I did with this one, I did feel that you could actually get nice depth with it. But that was sort of my my initial thoughts about this one. But we shall see after I have done my full like 2-week rotation try on for the palette how I feel about it. But as I said, if you want to get it, the palette is already available. So then to the category of blushes that I do actually want to get. So Makeup Revolution is killing it right now with their releases. I think they've been pretty consistently now coming out maybe like each month with releases where I've been actually actively like going that the products have been something that I want to get, and I have actually been because a lot of the Revolution actually products have they like launched during last month that I was eyeing that I really want to get those. Those actually did come to our retailers. I was actually buy those in store. I was actually able to buy those in store. I didn't have to order those online, so I'm hoping these will come soon also to our retailers. But yeah, apparently these are going to be including, there is a matte powder formula, there is a more glowier blush formula, and then there's a highlighter. And I'm particularly been eyeing the sort of like muted rosy toned one that you can see in the, I think it's gonna be like in the upper corner on your screen. I think that maybe did they go say with the colors. I do have to actually say that these are quite they went on with quite punchy colors with this line, because unless you like exclude the very muted rose one that I'm eyeing, the peachy looks like to be this very punchy white based peach kind of shade. Then we have a very punchy like full on pink, and then the deep sort of rosy shade or a cherry shade. I think cherry would be a better description. It's also looking that has quite a lot of punch to it. So I think if you've been eyeing the blushes, these aren't going to be giving you a super subtle blush look, so they definitely chose some very like punchy colors. But as I said, I do think this was like, when I saw this I was like thinking that okay, that looks like a very nice release, and I was definitely interested in, so I am just now waiting when these are going to be available on our Revolution retailers. NARS has come out with a Host Escape collection. I was initially thinking that is it a bit early for summer collection, but I think this might still not be their official summer collection. They're probably gonna be it's gonna be a Laguna themed collection again, because they usually do the Laguna, which is the one their famous bronzer shade, which is actually included in one of the face palettes in this one. So just FYI, a lot of these face palettes seem to be having like recycled shades, which NARS does a lot. But I do have to say, like in terms of packaging and how this collection is created, this isn't the worst that we have seen from NARS. I actually do like this packaging. I was like eyeing obviously the fairest shade quad is something, the fairest face quad is something that I'm eyeing, and I do also like the caps of the lip oils. The sort of cream eyeshadows are not something I would spend NARS prices on, because I can get good like cream eyeshadows from Kiko Milano that work just as effectively. But I do have to say, even though this probably has like the same recycled shade that NARS does all over again, I do think they actually executed this quite well. And this makes me think of summer, which is something that is actually really lovely, considering that it seems to be, at least where I live in, that it's just very grey currently. So yeah, but as I said, I don't think this is their summer collection yet. I do think there's going to be an official summer collection later before the summer months. Okay, then the collection that made me actually think that Pat McGrath finally lost it, and I think I've already like written the brand off like many times on my channel, but I was kind of hopeful because they came out with this. It was more of a skincare product, but I did want to feature it, but it was this sort of mask that gave this sort of very like full-on glass face effect, which was a bit already on the creepy side, but I thought that okay, but maybe they're getting back to their sort of editorial roots, and there was like promise maybe that the brand was going back to its roots. Well, then we got this one. So Pat McGrath did a collaboration with Candy Crush, and I had to like take a breather and think that when was the last time I heard anyone talking about this? Like when I was a sort of teenager, young adult, that was the time when Candy Crush was like a really popular. I think it was like a couple of years it was really popular. I have actually played the game in the past because it was something that people did on Facebook during that time, and yeah, but like after like it has been like years and years since the Candy Crush was even like relevant in any manner. So, and also just considering that Pat McGrath is a luxury brand targeted towards like maybe not exactly the like youngest makeup consumers, and then when I'm thinking about Candy Crush, I'm thinking that maybe this could have been a good IP pairing with maybe Colourpop or Makeup Revolution, you know, a brand that's geared towards maybe like maybe a bit more younger demographic. It just seems to be that this is a very bad fit, and not only don't I think that the collaboration fit, but also how Pat McGrath executed this one. The basically only thing that there is like specific to this collaboration is that the outer packaging of the products, they did the stripes on the caps of the lip glosses, and then they did the like bullet of the lipstick, but I do like the shades, for example, of the products look like they've been the shades that Pat McGrath has come out before, and there isn't like anything super unique in this one, so I'm just like, this is a brand because this used to be one of those brands that I was pretty happy to pay. They were like a very high prices that were like at that point, because I was just like starting my current career before, like after university, so I wasn't earning that much back then, but I was happy to put in the extra money because the Pat McGrath products were genuinely like unique. But now this just feels like, now what I've been seeing from the brand for the last couple of years, and especially now this one, this just seems a bit disappointing. So for me this is obviously a skip, but if for some reason you love this IP pairing with Pat McGrath, then this is already I think available on the website. So another concealer, so Maybelline is extending their Superstay line, so they have had the foundation now that has been pretty popular. I would really much want to try the foundation, but the shades are very yellow leaning. They even have a shade that they describe as, I think it's 1.5, which they're describing as a cool undertone, but that's just a very warm peach on my particular skin undertone, and then the lighter shades from that one are very like yellow undertone leaning. So unfortunately I haven't been able to find a shade, so that's why I haven't tried this, but now they're coming out with a concealer, and this is supposed to be 30 hour longer. Please don't wear your makeup 30 hours. Conceals dark circles and stays in place. I do think they have also the Superstay foundation. They have been like putting videos on their Instagram and stuff where they put like water over the foundation and it doesn't seem to move anywhere. So this is again going for the concealers that are advertising themselves to be this super full-on stay-on concealers that will like last through your whole day. So I think if you have been able to find sort of a shade match within the foundation line and you have liked the foundation, then maybe try out the concealer. I think this has been spotted so far in Asia, so it could take a while for this to come to West, but yeah, as I said, keep your eyes open if you have been liking the foundation in this line. So Fenty is next, and actually before we will go to the actual products, the Fenty blushes have officially come to Europe. They are finally, like, I'm thinking like, gosh, the product, I do believe they came out with a shade extension to the shade, and they may have launched now in Europe the old shades and now also the new shades that came with the shade extension, but that took a hot minute for them to get there. But so if you live in Europe and you're waiting the Fenty blushes, if you have Fenty retailer in your country, they should now be available. However, the completely new product that is coming apparently is Cherriez Gone Bad collection. So this is going to be a limited edition collection, and they are going to be doing the blush lighters again. So the blush lighters that or similar blush lighters, they launched those in their summer collection. I actually did buy one of those. I do remember not everyone was liking those, so it's interesting to see that they now did the blush lighters also again in another limited edition collection. Then they have also some of their skincare products in this one, and then there seems to be some lip products. I am kind of vibing with this one, though I do think both of the blush lighter shades, and first of all, again, I'm a person who really doesn't like their glowy blushes, and I do have to say the summer collection blushes, those were very... You could definitely see the golden sparkle when you had that all over your cheek, so I am having a bit of concerns with this one. The deeper cherry shade looks kind of nice, but that's gonna be just too deep on my skin tone. Yeah, I think this is appealing to me mostly because of the theme, and cherries seem to be very popular now on the makeup. Like, a lot of brands are coming out with cherry themed things, so I'm not that surprised that Fenty is actually jumping to this trend, but yeah. I like the aesthetics of this collection, however, I don't know is there anything truly that I am planning to like actually buy from this one, and I don't know when this is going to be coming to Fenty retailers, but I do have to say the deeper cherry blush lighter, that was looking quite cool, but we shall see that if that is any way suitable for my particular very fair skin tone. So we have a bit of a sneak peek from Gucci. I don't talk about this brand a lot because unfortunately it's a very difficult brand for me to get. I can mainly get it if I'm traveling from abroad to a retailer that sells this. But apparently Gucci is coming out with a limited edition. I think this might be a powder compact or something. I do have to say it's a very pretty compact, but from Gucci I'm not surprised that a fashion house does their like makeup packaging very well. So I think this might be something that could be actually their like summer collection, and I think this is a compact that you can actually, or you can at least get their blushes in. I think this would make a super nice gift. If you can get Gucci and if you want to give your makeup lover friend a nice gift during the summer, and when this is available, this could be a good choice. You could make someone very happy. For me, this is probably a skip purely because it's a hard brand to get, and also these are probably horrendously expensive. We're getting more mascara, so Too Faced is going to be launching actually mascara, and they are also coming out with these cream stick eyeshadows. Are cream stick eyeshadows becoming a trend? That's interesting. Not something that was in my bingo cards. So we went from individual eyeshadows to cream stick eyeshadows. Okay. Anyway, so the first one is a ribbon wrapped lash mascara, extreme length tubing mascara, $29 US. I'm not a fan of tubing mascaras. I don't like how you take them off. I actually want to go to shower and just wash my makeup, because with tubing mascaras you have to first take the mascaras out separately from your eyelashes, and that's just not how I like to operate. But I do know there are quite a lot of people who like tubing mascaras, especially if you have very easily tearing eyes. I hear that the tubing mascara should be very like, how should I say, they don't smear as easily as traditional mascaras, so that could be something to consider if you're eyeing this one. And then you have quick and easy eyeshadow sticks. So none of these are appealing to me, but if you have been looking for tubing mascara from Too Faced or some eyeshadow sticks, then I think these are going to be available soon. The eyeshadow sticks are going to be $26 US. Again, I much rather want to get like Kiko Milano's eyeshadow sticks or even Morris eyeshadow sticks. Those are good quality, but they don't cost as much. So Mercier is coming out with the bronze color infusion. I haven't actually maybe discussed this before, but Mercier seems to be coming now to our country. We have like previously had one retailer where we could have ordered the brand online, but now they are actually like in stores, and they're actually apparently coming to more retailers, so that is quite interesting because I do know that there are certain staple products that people like from the brand. So this seems to be a multi-dimensional talc-free bronze duo, so there seems to be a matte and shimmer side. Because I like my bronzers to be matte or at least minimum satin. I'm not a big fan of having this like bronzer having two sides, but if you like this kind of idea of having a matte and shimmer like a bronzer mixed in one, then this could be something to look into. But for me, because I am a person who likes to have one finish from their powder products, this is going to be a skip. So another bronzer product, so What's Up Beauty, which is a indie brand, they are coming out. Oh sorry, this is not bronzer, this is apparently a pressed powder. So this is called the Wild Dancer Pressed Powder. I do have to say I like the embossing. It's there's a cute butterfly in the compact. Obviously the embossing is going to be fading away as you use the powder, but This is pretty cool. I have always said that I like it when indie brands expand beyond eyeshadow palettes because a lot of the other makeup categories are more expensive for them to produce. For example, individual powders, those are for indie brands much more like expensive compared to maybe some mainstream brands to get into production, and you obviously do need quite a wide shade range if you're doing especially complexion products. So currently there seems to be like 4 shades, so it's not the most extensive shade range, but I will still give them credit for trying, and maybe later on if the pressed powder is popular then they will be getting more shades. But yeah, interested to see how this will go for them because indie brands aren't usually the complexion products are usually the last thing brands expand into because as I said you do need to produce quite a lot of shades, but I am quite happy to see that What's Beauty is coming out with these ones. Okay, this is a product that I've shown in my channel previously, but we had only sneak peek. Now we have the full-on range. So NYX is coming out with highlighters in their Buttermelt line. I do think this is a very smart release for them. This was very expected release from them. And I do think we might be having 2016 and 17 color highlighters coming back, because when you look at the color variations of these, I was thinking that, yeah, we are definitely going like before pandemic YouTube with these ones. There's like a mint green, we have punchy pink, there's a bright violet in here, like will the shades be necessarily something that I will buy? Not necessarily. I think I have discussed this before, I'm someone in my 30s, my cheekbones areas do have a bit of texture in them. I have to be quite careful. I do like highlighters, but I have to be careful what kind of highlighters I use. But I could maybe, depending how, because the Buttermelt formula, I have the fairest shade of the bronzer. However, my sort of big like nitpicking about the formula is that even with the fairest bronzer shade, the formula is very pigmented. I haven't still gotten any of the blushes because all the blush shades, when I swatch them in stores, they carry a lot of pigment. So my concern maybe is that if I get any of the highlighters, is that if I get some of the colors highlighters, then is it going to be basically having a shimmer eyeshadow striped on your cheek, or is it going to be a highlighter that will still melt in with the rest of your makeup? But depending how the pink looking highlighter will look swatched out in store, that could be something I'm looking into, or I can just go with the basic highlighter, because I do think the Buttermelt formula itself is very beautiful formula from the drugstore. It's very smooth, easy to blend. It carries a lot of pigment, which means that you do need to like look have bit like caution when you apply it. But interested to see what kind of formula this is, because from the images I can't really tell yet that is it going to be more of a sort of sheen, or is it going to be more of a sparkle. And apparently the see-through packaging is the packaging we're going to get this, because I was initially thinking when the first pictures came out that is there like see-through plastic packaging, maybe a tester packaging, but this is going to be how the highlighters are going to be displayed in store. There's not a release date for these yet, but if my old signs are correct, then these will probably come first to States, and that probably means that we will probably get these in Europe closer to summertime. So if you live in Europe just like me, be prepared that you might have to wait for these quite a while, because both the blushes and bronzers, it took quite a while for them to get here. Then something that I do have to give credit that this actually, like YSL is killing it in terms of packaging even with this one. So apparently these are going to be Loveshine Plumping Lip Oil Gloss. So it's a gloss lip oil hybrid. If it has a plumping quality, then I'm out at that point, because I don't want anything to sting on my lips. If it's a more of a minty feeling, that I can kind of tolerate, but because you can't usually, at least in the description, it doesn't say how the plumping effect goes, so not something I'm running out to get. But I do have to say that the packaging, again, like YSL has been doing really well now within Europe. They've been like sort of repackaging and their things, and I think they are doing like much better in terms of the fact that they're actually, the products sort of stand out from all the other high-end products. Incredible shine, noticeably fuller lips, and 24-hour hydration in luxurious lip products. Yeah, so how does it give it fullness? Okay, it says it has spicy also. If you like your very stingy lip products, then this is probably going to be lovely for you, but for those of us who don't like painful feelings on our lips, this is going to be a skip because it's one of those spicy plumpers, which means it's gonna be very painful. So MAC is apparently extending their MACStack sort of mascara line. This is actually the last product we have for today. I wasn't a fan of the original MACStack mascara. Unfortunately for me, it was a very awful experience where the brush, none of the mascara, for some reason the brush didn't get it into my lashes, and then I had the like mascara for some reason on my sort of like everywhere else except in my like lashes. So for me, the original MACStack mascara was a failure. However, this seems to be help because the original MACStack mascara, I think it had plastic bristles, but this actually has fiber bristles, and the mascara wand has a bit of a different design. So actually this could be maybe because the mascara wand is quite thin, so it means that you will get quite nicely with it to the root of your lash. So I could maybe like try this out and see that is this like better, because MAC products do seem to come quite quickly to our retailers. Yeah, a previous experience with the mascara in this line wasn't such a big fan, but this seems to have a mascara one that actually like might actually get the product on your lashes and not to your like eyeline or your lash line, or not lash line, but for sort of your eyelid area. But yeah, there isn't yet information when this is going to be available, but keep an eye on your MAC retailers, and as I said, this looks to be a bit more promising than the original MACStack mascara was. So I think the end conclusion from this week was that we had very little, like there was one product here that I liked that I already bought, but aside from that it was maybe a bit of more quieter week, and as I said, or not a week but 2 week time, and there was a lot of concealers for some reason. Some very promising concealers, I do have to say that. Comment down below what did you think about the products I discussed today. Did anything catch your eye, or was it just like it was for me, that there was nothing that you were sort of currently interested in? If you like this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell button if you want to get notifications from my future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope you can see you soon in the video. Bye bye!